Hi, my name is Maya. I'm 30 years old. And until recently, I thought being loved meant being protected. Completely. Constantly. And maybe it still does. But when someone replaces your bedroom window with bulletproof glass without asking, or swaps your phone case because the old one wasn't impact resistant enough, you start wondering if what you're in is love or lockdown. There's no bruises, no yelling, no slammed doors, just silence, smooth, polished care, and the quiet, creeping feeling that you might be disappearing beneath it. Hey, if you've made it this far, get comfortable. It's a lot, I know, but it matters. If the story's pulling you in, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Seriously, drop it in the comments. I read everything. Let me take you back to the day the new doors arrived. White oak, reinforced, sound sealed. Custom fitted, with biometric locks. Garrison level tech disguised as a housewarming gift. It's a safety upgrade, Grayson had said, brushing sawdust off my sweater. I got the same model they use at consulates. You'll sleep better. He was smiling that perfect, calm smile. The one that makes other women say, God, I wish my husband cared that much. And yeah, I smiled too. Like I always do. Even as I realized the door didn't have a handle on my side. Just a green light that blinked when it recognized his print. The apartment looks like something out of an upscale magazine. Soft neutrals, curated lighting, zero clutter. Every plant is alive. Every towel matches. You wouldn't know that the kitchen knives are dulled on purpose, or that the balcony door only opens between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., because sunlight is healthiest then. No one would guess the Wi-Fi goes dead at midnight, that the thermostat is locked, that my shoes get replaced if the heel is over 2 inches. You're exaggerating, my friend Zora said once. It's not like he's drugging you or tracking your cycles. I didn't correct her. He does. Both. At work, I run a team of 12 and manage seven-figure UX contracts. People call me the icebreaker because I get into meetings no one else can crack. But at home, I can't even adjust my own alarm volume without entering a password. Sleep hygiene? Grayson murmurs, pulling the duvet up to my chin. No interruptions, sweetheart. And the worst part? He says it with love. Real, genuine love. Like a man putting armor on something fragile, something precious. The kind of love that makes you wonder if you're being preserved or erased. The cameras weren't the creepy kind, not obvious black domes or blinking red lights. No, Grayson had taste. They were embedded in corners like tiny nods to modernism. Flush with the wall. Matte finish. You could only see them if you were looking for something to be afraid of. I wasn't. Not yet. He installed them while I was in San Diego for a Women in Tech retreat. 3 days of panels, rooftop dinners, and late-night wine with people who still believed in things like personal boundaries. I came home to a smiling husband and a living room that now pinged. Surprise, he said, handing me a decaf latte in a ceramic mug with a silicone grip. Total home automation, top tier, real-time analytics. No more wondering if you left the oven on. I blinked. Did I ask for this? He kissed my forehead. You don't have to, that's the point. At first, it was convenient. I could ask the system to preheat the shower or track my hydration levels. The kitchen AI complemented my calcium intake. Grayson called it empowered wellness. But then came the midnight pings. You've been sitting still for 43 minutes. Would you like to stretch? You left a cabinet open. That's a potential hazard. Hydration dropped 12% below daily baseline. And my personal favorite, you didn't sleep well last night. Adjusting lighting and scent profile. I stopped using voice commands. I unplugged the diffuser. Nothing changed. Grayson had access to override settings. Fail-safe protocols, he explained. In case of emergencies, or just, if you're too tired to remember what's good for you. At work, I joked about it. Lightly, ironically. Just enough to sound like a woman still in control. I basically live in a spa with a surveillance fetish, I told Jonathan Kim as we prepped for a pitch deck. He laughed. Sounds efficient, or terrifying, depending on the lighting. I gave a half smile. Depends who's watching. He paused. Maya, just say the word if it stops being funny. I didn't answer. That evening, I tried disabling the system. Just for an hour. A break. The screen flashed. Permission denied. Owner access required. Owner. I stood in the kitchen, phone in hand, staring at that word. Not user, not resident, not Maya. Owner, Grayson Hudson. My fingerprint didn't count. The next morning, Grayson handed me my lunch in a recycled bamboo container. He'd etched my initials into the lid. Don't forget to eat by 1, he said. I calibrated the macros. I kissed his cheek, tasted guilt. He looked so proud, so gentle, so sure he was saving me. And for a second, I wondered if maybe I'd imagined the lock. Maybe love really does come with settings. He called it a birthday surprise, said it with that warm tone, like he'd invented intimacy. I'd just come back from a morning run with Zora, who, bless her bluntness, had asked if I still needed permission to pee with the door closed. I laughed, uncomfortably. Grayson met me in the hallway, holding a velvet box like it held a proposal, not a tracking device. I wanted to give you something beautiful and smart, he said, opening the lid. Inside, a gold cuff bracelet, sleek and minimal, with a barely visible power port and a glassy screen strip no wider than a grain of rice. It syncs with the house, he said, fastening it on my wrist. Now you don't even have to think about your needs. The system will monitor your vitals and adjust your environment. Light, sound, temperature. You'll feel more balanced. I stared at the band. It pulsed softly against my skin. Grayson smiled. And I'll always know you're safe. That night, I tried to take it off. It didn't unlatch. No clasp, no release. Just a flat curve of metal that hummed with low battery life and quiet authority. I searched the app on my phone. It required an admin login. Guess who the admin was? Zora noticed first. We were at a cafe, and my bracelet buzzed. Heart rate above average. Would you like to initiate a calming sequence? Zora blinked. Okay, what the hell is that? I tried to wave it off. It's nothing, just one of Grayson's things. She didn't laugh. Girl, that is not a thing. That's an ankle monitor with branding. Later that night, I asked Grayson directly. Why can't I remove it? He looked genuinely confused. You want to remove it? It's on my body, Grayson. He nodded. Exactly. And your body is precious. You don't throw away a fire extinguisher because there wasn't a fire today. I'm not a building. I'm your wife. His voice got quiet. And you think I don't know that? We didn't speak for 3 days. The silence was loud. Deafening, actually, because the house was too responsive. Every movement triggered lights, soft music, adjustments in the temperature, like it was trying to smooth over our tension. Grayson started waking up earlier, made breakfast alone, left reminders through the system instead of saying things out loud. The bracelet never stopped tracking. One night, I sat on the balcony, the only place still partially analog, and messaged Zora. He put something on me, called it a gift. It doesn't come off. Her reply came fast. That's not care, Maya. That's a cage. He didn't slam doors. Grayson wasn't built like that. Instead, he just powered down. No more scheduled herbal tea at 8:45 p.m. No silent entry into my calendar with stretch break 11:30. No touch on my lower back when I passed him in the hallway. It was as if he'd put our marriage into airplane mode. I thought I'd feel free. I didn't. One morning, I found the kitchen in total stillness. No boiling kettle, no pre-warmed cup. My favorite oat milk still sealed. The fridge didn't greet me with my name on a pastel display. It used to say, "Good morning, Maya," like a whisper. Now it said nothing. Grayson was in the living room, seated on the couch in full uniform, socks aligned, posture sharp, reading a manual on silence. Or that's how it felt. I shut the automation off, he said without looking up. Didn't want to overstep anymore. The sentence floated in the air like steam from a coffee I hadn't been served. That night, I cried in the shower. Not because I missed the routines, but because I missed being seen. Grayson used to observe me so closely, I felt like a one-woman weather system, and he was always ready with the right jacket. Now, I could be raining or burning or frozen, and he wouldn't ask if I needed anything. He wouldn't even notice. But wasn't that what I asked for? No more control? No more preemption? Zora said it best. You wanted space, not a vacuum. She took me to a women's circle, the kind with candlelight, unsweetened tea, and phrases like, hold space for your shadow self. I sat on a pillow and spoke last. I don't know who I am without him deciding it for me. The room went still. One woman reached over and said, that's not partnership, that's programming. And still, I wasn't ready to delete him. That week, Grayson started leaving the apartment at odd hours, always alone, no explanation. I tracked him once, not with software, but with footsteps, like I was the one sneaking around now. He was going to a veterans center, talking to a therapist, sitting with other men who also didn't know how to stop guarding everything they loved until they crushed it. He never told me. I found the brochure in the laundry, folded but clean, and that's when I realized he was trying. But he wasn't trying to fix me anymore. He was trying to fix himself. The silence wasn't punishment. It was recovery. It started with a glitch, a missed update. My phone refused to sync with the house system. No shower presets, no lighting cues. I thought maybe Grayson had removed my access again, but when I tried the manual override, something flickered. A calendar event. Hidden, but not deleted. Labeled simply, SDC Hotel, Room 417. That's where the firm's annual pitch gala was held, the one I was presenting at the next day. I hadn't told Grayson the room number. He hadn't asked. He showed up like smoke. No warning, no sound. I caught his reflection in the hotel lobby mirror, 3 hours before the gala. Tailored jacket, perfect posture, eyes scanning, not for danger, for me. At first I thought he was just early, supportive, but there was something off in his energy. Focused, controlled, loaded. Later, I found out the Wi-Fi in my room had been throttled. Hotel IT blamed firmware collision. Grayson called it prevention. You were nervous. I wanted you to sleep well, not scroll until 2 a.m. You do that when you spiral. He said it like love. I heard it like surveillance. After the event, Jonathan sent me a video clip. Didn't know your guy came, his message said. I opened the file. There I was, raising a toast. In the background, near the service bar, Grayson, standing in half shadow, watching me, not blinking. He didn't approach, didn't say a word. He just monitored. We argued in the hotel garage. It echoed, sharp words bouncing off concrete and steel. You tracked me to my own work event? I shouted. You sabotaged my Wi-Fi? He didn't flinch. I protected your environment. That's not love, Grayson. That's surveillance dressed in concern. He took a step back. Not in anger, in restraint. You don't understand what the world is capable of, he said quietly. I've seen what happens when you let down your guard. I'm not losing you to some unseen variable. You're not losing me, Grayson. You're erasing me. A valet walked past us, hesitating. A woman nearby adjusted her shawl and kept walking, eyes averted. It wasn't a scene. It was a fracture, a public silence that hummed louder than any fight. That night, I stayed in Jonathan's spare room. Alone, no bracelet, no sensors, no whispered systems asking if I needed a hydration check. I slept badly, but for the first time in months, my dreams were my own. When I got home, he was gone. No slammed doors, no, we need to talk. Just his closet half empty, his toothbrush missing, and a folded note on the kitchen island that read, You wanted freedom. I'm giving it to you. Just remember, without a net, the fall hits harder. The bracelet was still on my wrist. Cold now. Silent. I took it off with pliers, left it on the bathroom counter like a severed limb. At first, it felt like victory. I threw the blackout curtains open, blasted music, ordered spicy food, Grayson would have declared gut irritating. Slept with the balcony door ajar just because I could. I texted Zora. I can breathe. She replied, then start running. I thought she meant it metaphorically. She didn't. The next morning, she dragged me to a pop-up boxing class. You've been defending someone else's boundaries for years, she said, taping my knuckles. Now hit something. At the gym, sweat made my skin feel like it belonged to me again. No sensors, no optimization, just me, a bag, and the sound of breath I didn't have to monitor. By week 2, I moved into a co-working loft, painted one wall bright green, ate mango on toast for lunch, wore whatever shoes I wanted. People said I looked brighter. I laughed more, walked differently. And then it happened. The breach. An email alert. Unusual login to mayahudson@gmail.com, followed by a second. Prototype download initiated. I froze. Opened my cloud drive. Files were gone. Months of design work for a mental health app I'd pitched, erased, or stolen. I contacted IT. The breach came from a VPN in Delaware. Only 3 people had ever seen the early prototype. One of them was Jamie, a former contractor I'd quietly let go after he missed 3 deadlines. I called. He denied everything, smugly. You didn't copyright anything yet. It's open game. For the first time since Grayson left, I reached for my phone with a different kind of panic, and I dialed him. He answered on the first ring. Did something happen? He asked. No hello, no spite. His voice wasn't cold anymore. Just ready. I explained, short and sharp. He didn't interrupt. I'll look into it, he said. And he hung up. No guilt trip, no questions, just action. The way he used to move in war zones. Quiet, clean, decisive. Later that night, the bracelet buzzed again. Not on my wrist, on the bathroom counter. Its screen lit up with 2 words. Still protected. The police report went nowhere. They said the evidence was circumstantial, the IP too generalized. Civil matter, the officer added, shrugging, as if my work wasn't the digital equivalent of blood. I sat on the curb outside the station, sunlight too sharp, air too dry, phone too silent, and I realized something. I missed Grayson's chaos because at least he cared enough to watch, so I did the one thing I'd sworn not to. I called him again. I need your help, I said. He didn't ask why, just said, where should I meet you? He arrived at the loft in a black hoodie and jeans that didn't quite fit anymore. His beard was shorter, eyes clearer. He walked in like he didn't belong there anymore. Respectful, slow. Like my space had borders now. I showed him the emails, the backups, the dead-end logins. He nodded once, opened his laptop. No commentary, just movement. 10 minutes later, he spoke. Jamie didn't just steal your files. He tried to patent the concept through a third-party shell. The documents timestamped yesterday. My jaw clenched. He's gonna beat me to my own launch? Not if you file today, and file loud. By that afternoon, I'd called 3 reporters, filed with a startup accelerator, and submitted a legal claim with timestamps attached. Grayson helped me stitch together screenshots and metadata. His hands never brushed mine. He didn't linger. At one point, I offered him coffee. He shook his head. Not my terrain anymore. He left with a nod. No hug, no warning. But when I checked my inbox an hour later, I found a single message from him. Subject, loose ends. Body, Jamie's client list, in case you want to know who to avoid. No sign-off, no hint of emotion, just intel. That night, I sat on my studio floor, files recovered, launch plan rebuilt. And I wondered, why did this feel lonelier than the silence? Why did competence taste like mourning? 3 days later, I saw him on a live stream, part of a panel for veterans on emotional processing and boundary repair. He wasn't the same man. He said things like, control isn't care, and protection without consent is just a prettier form of fear. I watched without blinking. The chat scrolled with comments. Needed this today. Wow, this guy gets it. He sounds like someone who's been through hell and actually came out better. I closed the laptop, and for the first time, I believed he had. I filed the patent myself, in my name, with a lawyer who wore leopard print heels and called Jamie a disposable parasite. The launch date was set. My name was back on the project, and this time, nobody else had keys. I changed the locks on everything: the loft, the cloud, my self-image. Grayson had taught me many things, most of them unasked for, but the most important one, the one he never meant to, was this: control isn't love, and love isn't control. I hired my own cybersecurity consultant. His name was Victor, and he refused to explain things in metaphors. Jamie's back-end encryption was a joke, he said flatly, like he was talking about plumbing. Your biggest weakness was letting someone in too far. I nodded. Noted. Victor glanced at the old bracelet still lying on my desk, inert. You want me to wipe that too? I hesitated. No, not yet. Then came the speaking invite. Zora had submitted my name to a Women in Tech conference. The theme was reclaiming space. I said yes. Not because I wanted to perform my pain, because I was tired of pretending I hadn't survived something real. The day of the event, I wore a blazer I bought on impulse and heels Grayson would have called stability risks. Zora introduced me with tears in her eyes. Some of us learn strength through friction, she said. Some of us are forged in algorithms and locked doors. Maya was both. I took the stage, looked out at a room full of women like me, loud, soft, broken, mending, and I said, I once let someone build a fortress around me, thinking it was a sanctuary. But fortresses are meant to keep things out, not let us grow. The crowd didn't clap immediately. They breathed. They felt. Then came the applause. After the panel, I stood outside in the courtyard, letting the wind mess up my hair. I didn't fix it. And that's when I saw him. Grayson, at the back, hands in his pockets, no badge, just there, present. He didn't approach, but our eyes met, and in that moment, we both knew. This wasn't about reconciliation. This was recognition. Later, I walked up to him. We stood by the fountain where volunteers were folding chairs. Didn't expect to see you here, I said. I came to listen, he replied. Not to explain, not to repair. We stood there in the dusk, no longer two ends of a tension wire, just people, with boundaries and choices. Jamie filed a lawsuit 2 weeks before launch, claimed co-authorship, claimed shared vision, claimed emotional labor. His lawyer used phrases like creative entanglement and mutual development of digital intellectual property. It would have been laughable if it weren't so precise, like he'd studied me, like he knew how much I hated conflict. But this time, I didn't freeze. I filed a counterclaim the same day, with receipts, with timelines, with all the anger I'd swallowed during every "it's just a misunderstanding" moment in my professional life. The court date was set. Press caught wind. Headlines read, Ex-collaborator takes on rising app founder in IP showdown. UX visionary or thief? The lawsuit behind Terra. Zora wanted to call Grayson. I said no. This time, I wasn't going to lean on someone else's shields. This time, I'd bring my own fire. The courthouse smelled like old wood and paper sweat. I wore no jewelry, no tech, no tracking. Just a dark suit and the look of someone who'd already lost everything once. Jamie smirked like a man with a backup plan. His lawyer called me impulsive, said I was emotional in emails. I smiled, leaned into the mic. Passion isn't volatility, and being underestimated isn't proof of incompetence. It's just a mistake you make once. The judge didn't blink, but I saw her pen move. Fast. During my closing remarks, I did something unexpected. I stepped away from my notes. My idea was built in silence, I said, while I was being managed, softened, and redesigned for someone else's comfort. This app is about agency, the kind I had to claw back, alone. A reporter later quoted it in a tweet. Maya Hudson didn't raise her voice. She raised the standard. The tweet went viral. We won. The ruling was clean. Sole authorship, full patent protection, injunction against Jamie's copycat project. When the gavel came down, I didn't cry. I breathed. The way you do when you break the surface after holding your breath for too many months. Outside the courthouse, flashes went off. A mic was shoved toward me. What would you say to women afraid of standing up in these situations? I looked right into the lens. I'd say we don't owe politeness to predators. We owe protection to ourselves. Start there. The clip aired on 5 networks. Zora sent me a screenshot of the views with the caption, "Not bad for someone who hates conflict." That night, I poured tea with my own hands. No sensors, no algorithms, just heat, leaves, and a cup that belonged only to me. Spring arrived like someone throwing open a window you forgot was sealed shut. The city smelled like cut grass and burnt espresso. Buskers returned to the sidewalks. People held iced coffee like it was religion, and my life, surprisingly, felt mine. Terra launched on a Thursday. Clean UI, adaptive tones, soft haptics. A platform built not to track you, but to ask, what do you need, and are you allowed to want it? The feedback was immediate, thousands of downloads, messages like, "Finally, an app that doesn't yell at me to be better." I cried when it said, "You don't owe anyone your performance." For once, I didn't flinch reading the comments. I let them in. Zora hugged me at the post-launch gathering like I'd survived a fire. "You're glowing," she said. "It's just adrenaline," she smiled. Or peace. I didn't expect Grayson to come, didn't invite him, didn't not invite him either. But near the end of the evening, I saw him. Back corner of the event space, nursing something herbal in a paper cup. He waited until the crowd thinned before walking up. "I heard you speak," he said. "You mean today or the other 10 times reporters replayed it?" He gave a half smile. "All of them." We stood by a high-top table under string lights, between potted ferns and half-empty wine glasses. He said, "You were right. I don't know how to love someone without guarding them, but I'm learning, slowly." I looked at him, really looked. This wasn't the same man who installed cameras without asking. This was someone softer, not dulled, just humbled. We walked outside, down the quiet slope behind the venue, toward a small park that overlooked the water. Sat on a bench, watching the lights flicker across the bay. "I'm not here to rewrite anything," he said. "I just wanted to tell you. I'm proud of what you built." I nodded. "Me too." He paused. "If you ever needed backup again, I'd ask," I said. "Only if you want to. Only if I want to." We didn't kiss, didn't promise, just sat, side by side. Above us, clouds drifted slow and aimless. Below, the city kept humming. Between us, nothing except the space we finally learned to leave open. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of it.